Hi, my name is David Hauser, owner of Morningstar Doors and Windows. I'm bringing you today another comparison. To my right we have the Marvin Elevate, which used to be called the Marvin Integrity, and to my left is the WeatherShield Signature Series. I'm going to put links in the description. This is a third part to all my videos. The first was with Andersen, second with Pella, and today we're finishing it with Marvin. The goal for today's video is to do an extensive comparison so you as the consumer can see the clear differences between the two products and make an educated decision on the purchase. The reason we're comparing these two particular models, again, Marvin's Elevate, or what used to be called the Integrity, and WeatherShield's Signature Series, is because they're comparable in price. Now, each manufacturer offers multiple options in regards to different product lines you could get into, and I'll review that with you. But this particular product is kind of like the middle, as is this one. And the ironic part about it is that at the end of the video, you'll notice that the WeatherShield Signature Series is built more similarly to Marvin's top of the line, which is currently called their Signature product. Ironically, this is called Signature 2, but we won't get it confused, and I'll make it easy for you to understand. Now, like I mentioned before, Marvin is a great product. Compared to the other windows that we took a look at, it's by far the best in the comparison, but still is not as good as WeatherShield's. Now the thing is, sometimes you could find negative reviews on Andersen, especially on Pella and Marvin, and even WeatherShield. The interesting thing about this is a lot of times people confuse a improper installation, just assume it's the product, because a lot of times people don't want to face facts, and the contractor won't fess up and say, hey, you know what, maybe I did install it wrong. He just blames it on the window. Now, if we were putting out bad product all the time, the first person to get affected is typically the dealer, me. And if you look at our reviews online, our reviews are very good. So if I'm putting out bad product, that would be reflective on my reviews. And like I mentioned, if you look up Google reviews for Marvin, Andersen, or Pella, you could find negative reviews on just about anyone. Because if you were to buy a Mercedes, for example, and you had a busted tire, you're not going to go with an axe to grind. Review Mercedes corporate. You typically, if you had a bad experience with a dealer, review them, and maybe it would be positive or negative. The same would apply for windows and doors. So hopefully that makes sense. Sometimes people have some questions about that. Again, we're here to take care of you. We have in-house service. God forbid there's a problem. Our guys are fully trained in the product. I stock parts, so God forbid something did happen. We're here to take care of you, make the problem go away. The first area of comparison is going to be the exterior of the product, and how good it is or bad it is at protecting the interior wood from the elements. The Marvin, which we'll start with, their Elevate product, utilizes a pultruded fiberglass with a capstock paint finish. This is a material that they developed that they call Ultrex, and the material is pretty good. Compared to the other windows we compared, this is probably the best out of the ones that we've compared so far. They've done a pretty good job with it. Now, like we saw in our other videos, there is a third-party organization called AAMA, and AAMA gives ratings for certain products. We're going to review this, but this rating is decent. It's kind of middle, where WeatherShield's is their absolute best rating. We'll get more into detail in a second. Okay, so in regards to the AAMA rating for fiberglass, it's done with a 623, a 624, and a 625. And in regards to the rating on aluminum, it's done with a 2603, 2604, and 2605. The 3, the 4, and the 5 correlate to how it's performing with either a very good rating, meaning the 5, a middle rating with a 4, or a mediocre rating with a 3. Now, Marvin discloses their rating as a 624, and we have ours at a 2605. So the difference may seem minuscule, but it's actually double the performance. And where it counts is it's double the warranty. This has a 10-year exterior clad, where ours is a 20. Now, ironically, on Marvin's more expensive product, they actually utilize the identical exterior cladding system that this has. There's a separate manufacturer called Linetech or Crystal Coatings that makes it both for WeatherShield and Marvin. And Marvin's more expensive product uses, like I said, the identical system. So what's interesting here is we have a product that is similar in cost, yet I'm providing on WeatherShield a much better performing unit with double the warranty. Now, something to consider with the AAMA rating that I was mentioning between the 03, 04, and 05, or any units ending in a 3, 4, or 5. Again, this is a 624 rating, or this is a 2605 rating. AAMA does testing for color retention, chalk resistance, gloss retention, erosion resistance, salt spray, and humidity. Now the difference between the 4 and the 5 is literally double the performance. So it's not like we're making this stuff up, it's done in a laboratory setting. For all of those particular attributes, this is literally double the performance. And you can research it yourself, and we'll have the links in the description. Okay, so the reason why it's better is we have a system on the aluminum with a chrome phosphate pre-treatment. This helps the paint adhere properly. It's also electrostatically applied, and the paint resin is what's called a 70% Kynar. This may be unfamiliar to you. I'll put links in the description for further details that you could look into it and educate yourself on. But this is the gold standard in the industry. There is nothing better. If you came to me and said, hey David, I'd like to pay more money to get something better, you can't pay more money. This is the best. Where this is kind of middle. And again, they're both around the same price. And like I mentioned, Marvin's top of the line is using this clad, not that. Now, it's not just a performance difference, it's also a aesthetic difference. This window can look like a vinyl product on the exterior of the home, and where we're going to be looking at is these corners. There's these mitered corners. It does have that traditional putty glaze look, but the corners here are all mitered, where on the weather shield we have beautiful butt joints, and this is more aesthetically accurate that architects will look for to make your house look like $1 million. The next thing that's important about the product is the nail fin. So a nail fin is a piece of material attached to the frame that the contractor is going to utilize to nail this up to the home. This could either help the installation, make it a breeze, and prevent future problems such as water and air infiltration, or it could cause the contractor unneeded work, and if he doesn't do it correctly, it could lead to problems like water and air coming in the house. Now, some manufacturers use what's either called an integrated fin or an add-on fin. An integrated fin is something that Weather Shield uses, and unfortunately in the Marvin, they use this add-on fin, as you can see here. So the reason they do this is it's easier for packaging, they can stack windows in a truck, and it's more affordable. The problem though, as you can see, is it's pretty flimsy, and these corners here, if you take a look, you have this big gap. Now, they do ship with these corner keys, but if the contractor forgets to put that on, and you have an energy audit on your home, like a blower door test, you can fail the blower door test exam. So this could be a serious issue. This is an improper way to do it. So as you see on this one, it's a fully integrated nail fin, meaning it's not an add-on piece, it's part of the extrusion. And as you can see on this whole frame here, it is fully part of the whole frame. This also helps when the contractors are installing it, you're putting it to the opening, pushing it in, it'll stop at a particular point where this guy can just keep pushing further. So this could be pushed in too far into the house, which if it's not sitting flat could allow moisture or water to get in, where this one won't. It's a properly designed fin where this is a money-saving option for the manufacturer, not for you. There's another aspect to look at when you're considering the exterior aesthetic of the product. What architects like to look for is certain thicknesses, and it's going to vary from the bottom, the middle, and the top. This product is very similar to a vinyl window where all the areas are the same, where on the Weather Shield we have a larger thickness on the bottom, a certain thickness here, and then an alternating thickness here. This ends up looking like a vinyl product on your home, and like you did something on a budget, where this is going to make your house look like $1 million. So now we're going to take a look at the Jamb liner of the product. Jamb liner is a section over here. This is part of the interior aesthetic. As we saw in the other two windows we compared, those both utilize what's called a compression jamb liner. These both have a concealed jamb liner. The difference though is going to be in the aesthetic of it. So this has an exposed part of the balance system that you can see where I'm running my finger. And there's some beige vinyl materials. It's not really all wood and it's a little unsightly, but it's still better than the other two we compared. Whereas on the Weather Shield, it's a full concealed jamb liner. This one we're currently looking at is a clear coat pine. This can be optioned in white vinyl, tan vinyl, or wood like you see here, which would match the interior aesthetic of the product. Where this one doesn't offer those particular options, this one could look like their top of the line product and be similar in cost to that. Okay, the next aspect we're going to look at on the interior is how the product tilts in, or what some people call tilt wash. Now both of these windows are going to do the job pretty similarly. The other two windows we took a look at both did it very poorly, like you could break a nail or something. So what you want to do first is just unlock it. This is going to lift up, and then these two pieces just kind of squeeze together, comes right in. Top sash has the same function. It's pretty straightforward, and it's the same for this one. These two squeeze in, and it comes right down. Very simple. So now that we have both windows tilted in, what I want you to focus on is this area over here and this area over here of the window. We call this the check rail. Now the check rail should have some form of protection to prevent water and air from coming in, because again, these are installed on the outside of your home. We don't want you to be uncomfortable. We don't want drafts and different things getting in the house. So this window just has one piece of weather strip, where this one has a weather strip and an interlock. Now what an interlock is you have a male-female slot where there's a receptor groove on the top sash and a receptor groove on the bottom, and it locks together. So it also helps with forced entry. So when you shut and lock this, it's not just the weather strip, these two lock together, where this window does not have that at all. The reason that we use an interlock system is to help prevent water and air from coming in. I'm going to put links in the description. That way you can check and see, don't take my word for it, but this is a better performing product in regards to water and air infiltration. Okay, so we're going to show you a little demonstration so you can clearly see that this doesn't have an interlock. This dollar bill would be representative of some water and air possibly trying to get into your house. So we're going to shut and lock this, and that bad boy just comes right out. So we're going to do the same thing on the weather shield that has the interlock. And again, this will be representative of water and air trying to get into the house. So when this is shut and locked, you can see this thing ain't moving. It's basically going to almost rip. Good luck. The next area we're going to discuss is what's called a balance system. So if you remember from the honeymooners when the guy would stick his head out the window and then the window would fall in the back of his head, that's not what we want to happen to you here. Okay? So what's going on here is typically a counterweight system, and like we saw when we were discussing the exterior cladding, there's a third party called AAMA that rates the different areas of the product. Now with this area, they have either a Class 2 or a Class 3 balance. Marvin utilizes what's called a Class 2 balance. Its main componentry is a nylon string. Now Weather Shield uses a Class 3 balance rated from AAMA. Its main componentry is stainless steel. It's 40% easier to operate and has a 20-year warranty compared to 10. We'll get some close-ups so you can see what's going on, but it's this particular area right in here. There's a nylon string that holds up the sash, where we have a stainless steel band and there's an outer casing. The way it works is, you can imagine a tape measure. You have an outer composite casing. There's a coil made out of stainless steel inside there. We're kind of just laying it down and picking it up. 40% easier operation, super smooth, and keeps everything operating properly. Okay, next area we're going to compare is the sill design. Sill design is the bottom portion of the window where the sash meets the bottom portion of the frame. Now on the Marvin unit, this just has one piece of weather stripping and these two little corner gaskets with a slope sill. It does a pretty decent job. It's better than the other two, but again, it's not as good as Weather Shield's design. So what's happening here is this weather strip is basically going to sit down. They use those corner keys to prevent any drafts from coming in, so it's okay, but if you get a really hard driving rain, it can penetrate past this. How we solve that problem is we have a higher sill dam on the Weather Shield. A sill dam is kind of like a last resort, so something just doesn't go through. We use what's called a sill interlock. There's this piece coming straight out of the center of the sill. There's a route in the bottom of the sash, and there's weather stripping behind that. This is a high-grade Q-Lon weather stripping, a higher grade than what they utilize on that. So when this sits on top of it, it's near impossible to get something through. And again, we'll put all the ratings in the description, that way you can see, don't just take my word for it. Okay, so now we're going to talk about glass, because glass occupies about 90 to 95% of the product, whether it's mine or theirs. So the situation here, when Windows first started, it was single pane glass, and back in the 80s they created double pane glass, meaning 2 panes. So obviously everything is double pane nowadays, but what we do is we incorporate what's called the low E coating. It's actually a metallic alloy that's sprayed on the inside portion of the glass, and we use what's called an argon gas fill. Now, if you remember from chemistry class, there's different types of gas, some denser, some toxic. Argon is a very abundant gas in the atmosphere. It's 38% denser than oxygen. The reason we use it is it slows down convection, which is the transfer of hot and cold air. So being that it's 38% denser, if it's really cold outside, that density will help prevent that cold air from coming into the house. And that low E coating that I mentioned, what's happening here, in the summertime, the sun is hitting the window on an angle, it's going to reflect the heat and the ultraviolet rays back out. Not enough to kill plants, but enough to prevent fading inside the home. Now, both of these products can come Energy Star rated, and most of them do right out of the box. I'm going to put links in the description, both of which can be equal, and we should be able to outperform them in certain particular applications. Each window can be slightly different depending on operation, whether it's a sliding door or different things like that. So discuss with me if you have specific needs, because we could either get a much more high performance glass system if needed to help keep you and your family more comfortable in the house. So now we're looking at a spacer system. That's the material that is in between the glass. Both Weather Shield and Marvin utilize a stainless steel spacer. Unfortunately, this particular sample that we got looks like it had some excess of glue material that is unsightly. Hopefully your window won't have that. So I'm not really sure exactly what happened on this, but it doesn't look too good. So this one's utilizing Cardinal's Endure spacer. We're currently looking at it in black. This can also be optioned in silver. So depending on what interior or exterior aesthetic we could accommodate, and the glue looks much neater. Now, if you do have excess of glue, you can always let me know. I can't guarantee it's not going to be like the Marvins, but 99% of the time, it's not going to be like that. And if you did have an issue, you call us. We have an in-house service department where we can take care of it for you. Okay, so when you get your new windows, it's going to come with a sticker. It's going to have the manufacturer, the model, and then these particular numbers here. So the U factor, the Webster definition for that is the heat transfer coefficient. We want this in the Long Island area to be 0.30 or less. So this is an Energy Star qualified product. The government organization that does the testing is called the National Fenestration Rating Council. That's what this NFRC is. And this is referring to like how much heat loss you're going to have. The lower the number, the better. So if you're heating or cooling your home, you don't want that stuff just going right through the glass. Now this other number, the solar heat gain coefficient, is referring to how much solar heat gain you could have enter into the home from the sun on a hot summer day, or if it's even hot in the winter. In the winter time, you want this fairly high. In the summertime, you want to try to keep that limited. Now this number down here, the visible transmittance, that's referring to how clear or tinted the glass can be. So this is a pretty good number, and overall this ain't bad. So when we look at the test data for Weather Shield, we could exceed what we see here and make it where we could have an incredibly high performing product. Next thing we're going to talk about is the actual construction of the product. Now, this particular window is actually a full composite or fiberglass window. As you can see by this section here, the wood is just accenting the interior. So the amount of wood that is on this product is very limited and not much compared to the amount of wood that's utilized in this product. And you're probably thinking, well, what the heck's the difference? The first is the overall strength and rigidity, and the second is the aesthetic. Now, ironically, like I mentioned before about the exterior cladding and how Marvin's top-of-the-line product is made like this, it's the same here. Their top-of-the-line product is made like this, not like that. And again, you can see for the amount of wood that you're getting when you're buying a wood window, you're getting a lot more. If you were to pick up this window, even if it's a smaller size, it'll be significantly heavier than this product. So I did mention warranty before, and we were discussing the exterior where this was 10 years versus 20. Now, one major aspect about the product being that it's a wood interior, Weather Shield utilizes something to protect the wood, and it's like grandma's secret sauce. It's a secret recipe that the wood is preserved in to prevent rot, decay, mildew, termites, things like this. And it's a 30-year warranty against any of those issues occurring in writing, where Marvin doesn't disclose wood rot warranty at all. The other thing to consider is product options and choices. We're going to offer 12 colors on this one, where this product has 6 colors. So we have a lot more aesthetic choices, not just for the exterior, but for the interior. I can do a tremendous amount more customization with this product than this one can. This is a very limited product line. So if you want your house to look really nice and you're looking for specific options, we should be able to fulfill it with this product. So something I want you to be aware of Me as the owner, I'm very concerned about your overall satisfaction, and I'm personally involved on big projects from start to finish. What that means is you can meet with me for the presentation, you can meet with me for the quoting process and the blueprint takeoffs. I personally do all the quotes and oversee everything myself. I do all the final reviews and shop drawings, and I will work with your architect to make sure everything comes out perfect, exactly the way you want it. I will also show up to the job site to do a job site delivery inspection. That way, when your framers receive the product, I'm personally putting an eye on everything before it comes off the truck to prevent damage, check everything, make sure nothing is missing, and that the windows are exactly as to how we ordered it. On top of that, after everything is installed, I'll come back one more time and do what I call an installation inspection. Now this is important because I want to make sure that everything is operating properly. I use special lubricants on all the balance systems or crank mechanisms if you have casements. This is something that we offer. It's not an added charge. We as the dealer want to make sure that you are incredibly happy with the purchase because it's a big deal. You do it once in your life most of the time. We want to make sure we're here to stand by and make sure that you're incredibly satisfied. I hope you found this video informative. It's my goal to provide honest information and an unbiased comparison between the two. If you'd like to see an in-person, in-depth comparison, please feel free to give me a call. I'll put links in the description with all my information and email. I'd be happy to help in any way I can. Make sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.